1997, and he described our disastrous races. He said two things, and here again, this man was so dry that, there was no inflection, no nothing. It's just a description of it. And he said two things, and the first thing is very straightforward, very simple. The second one is just some information. It's very open to interpretation. I'm going to let you guys interpret it any way you want to. But let me tell you the two things that our good friend Mr. Sullivan wrote. First one, very seriously and very simple. He said these dogs were not trained in the activities Mr. Hayes had planned for that particular afternoon. Yeah, that's a huge understatement, people. These dogs had no idea what was going on in their world that day. I mean, half an hour before, they were on their front porch. Now we're racing, so... Now here's the description. You guys interpret. I'm just going to throw this information out there. You guys interpret this any way you want to. This is a description of that first race, the first faith, blow by blow, with the most seriousness. Here's the eyewitness account of that race. Here's what he said. He said these animals refused to stand in a straight line. They would not run in a straight line. They ran off, bit each other, pooped in the tea garden, and worse. There you go. I don't know what a worse is either, but maybe some of these dogs haven't met each other before. That's what I'm thinking. Oh, we drug them out of the woods, we lined them up, and they ran off the woods. We drug them out of the woods, we lined them up, and they ran over. We drug them out of the woods. We couldn't get a dog near the finish line. They were filming, running with barking dogs back to the starting line. We were Grand Hotel. We promised dog racing. Our guests are standing there. Their money's hanging out. We couldn't get a dog near the finish line. Well, we were Grand Hotel. We had promised dog racing, and by golly, we were going to have dog racing. So he said two more things that I just love. He solved this problem. They're very resourceful people. First thing he said was very simple again. He said, these animals won't run in the same direction because they have no motivation to do so whatsoever. Well, of course they don't. They kind of want to go home, I'm thinking at this point. So, to solve this problem, here is wonderfully figured. This was the thought process. If the dogs wouldn't all run in the same direction due to this massive lack of motivation, maybe these same animals would all swim in the same direction. Everybody went down to the water. The musicians went down there. They entertained the guests a little bit. They rode a little flat-bottom luggage boat from over the coal dock over to our beach over there, put the dogs in the boat, rode them a little ways out in the straits, dumped the dogs into the water. Every single dog swam ashore in the same direction for the next 14 years. We had the annual dog swimming races every July. Grand Hotel. It's insane. It's crazy. It's unbelievable. What happened? Let's talk about this. What happened? All of a sudden, what is this resort? Are we clean rooms, good food, and pretty place? Nope. We got a heart, soul, spirit, animation. We created a Disneyland for adults. We entertain people. We were more than lodging. If you ask me, the single hardest thing we do in this hotel for you people every single day today is to find a balance between offering as many modern amenities in this old girl for you travelers as we possibly can, but we try never to forget who we are, where we came from, who we were built for, what the entertainment value is. I travel all winter long to resorts, and it makes me crazy. I call it the United States of Generica, one cookie cutter beige place after another. Where are the places that may shock you with bright, fun colors, be elegant, but don't take themselves too seriously? It's all about creating a summer memory. If we do a good job, you come back. Do we make money? Not for years. The second manager actually threatened to tear us down in 1910. We survived that. Fella came as a simple desk clerk, worked his way up to part owner, W. Stuart Woodfill. Worked his way up to part owner in 25. I don't know if he saw the Depression coming, but he sold out in 27. The hotel had two other partners. Our seedier side, we don't have time to get into today, but during Prohibition, there wasn't a dry day in this building, period. Oh yeah, Canada's just located 20, it's 50 miles from here, and even when they had Prohibition, it was okay to sell to us, so. Let me tell you, I got a lot of good Prohibition stories, but let me sum it up in a single letter of complaint we have. I love this. I can tell you all these great stories, but this lady wanted her money back. We saved the good and bad letters. We still do today. This lady was here during Prohibition, and she was mad at us. She wanted her money back. And to me, when I read this one line, I'm like, I don't have to tell all these stories. I can read the one line. Here's why she wanted her money back. She said the liquor flowed better than the hot water in the pipes because there was so much more of it. What else can I say? We had a speakeasy in the back of the house. We had 3 gambling rooms in here. We had a revolving wall with roulette wheels in it. We had 8 RCA Victor console radios that weren't radios. They were fake nickel slot machines. Make any money? Didn't make any money. Stock market crashes in 29. The bankers came to run us. They couldn't make any money. For the second time in 1933, we were going to be torn down. No one wanted the building. A fellow wanted to build some cottages for his friends in North Chicago, more of these bluff houses. They put it up for bankruptcy auction. There was just one bidder. That guy that came in 1919 as a simple desk clerk, W. Stewart Wordfield, worked his way up to manager, part owner, sold out in 27. He was the only bidder. He saved this hotel from demolition within 2 months. He placed the one and only bid in 1933, and we are 76 years in the same family. How he ran this hotel, think we're big, rich, and famous. He had no money. He had no money. He never closed this hotel. There was no plan B. This hotel wasn't worth anything, especially during that period of time. He had to make it work. Let me just give you and tell you these crazy things he did, or I can tell you just one date in our history to let you know just how tenacious this man was to keep this hotel. He said over and over again, this hotel is my life, and my life is this hotel. July is our peak season. It has been since the day we opened this year, peak season. We had 99.6% occupancy this July in 2012. We only had 11 vacant rooms, 6 of which were paid for. So we were 99.6. Following month, 99.4. Last month, we were 98% occupancy. So July's our biggest month. July 4th was the highest occupancy in the house. We had 1,376 people staying in house. We had 811 last night, to give you kind of a comparison. So July 11th, peak season, 1939, under this man that's trying to dig this hotel out of debt. July 11, 1939, there was 11 paying guests in this house, and they were served by 400 employees. He never closed the hotel. We were that close to making money. World War II broke out. It was over. I mean, it literally was over. We dropped rates down to $5 a night, closed 2 floors of the hotel to try to make it work. After World War II, the most unlikely hero put us into profitability. Hollywood, 1947. Esther Williams, Xavier Cugat, Jimmy Durante made one of her swimming films here. We had no earthly idea the power of the media. We had the highest occupancy rate after that movie. It was released in the spring of 49, 1950. Highest occupancy rate, 1951, we started making money in this hotel. Last generation came. Mr. Woodfield that ran the place, his nephew came, Dan Musser. Finished college, came here. His uncle said, if you want to go in the hotel business, you got to learn it like I did. Work every department in the hotel. He worked every department in this hotel. His uncle, to show there's no favoritism, made him work twice the hours of any department he transferred into for the first 2 weeks. And his uncle was a pretty plain-spoken man. He said, if Dan Musser will survive that boy will be a hell of a hotel. Every department in this hotel. This young married couple, he became president actually in 1960. His wife, Amelia Musser, secretary-treasurer in 1961. Everything you see here, they brought here. People think we're so fancy. When we opened this hotel, that's how many bathrooms we had. None. It wasn't until the late 1960s, early 1970s that we had a private bathroom in every single room. 5 years ago, we air-conditioned the last part of the hotel. They brought in Carlton Varney to decorate this hotel. 385 rooms. Every single room is different. 264 wallpapers, which are not exclusive to us, but the colors are. This is our newest color. We have 22 colors that are custom mixed, designed for this hotel. Elegant, don't take yourself too seriously. Mr. Musser is here as chairman of the board 61 years. His son is getting ready to go do a project with him right now. He's president. Their daughter, Mimi Musser Cunningham, is vice president of the hotel. And the greatest miracle happened last year. The 4th generation had their first day at work. Those grandchildren rode that little antique Coca-Cola bike downstairs, up and down that front porch, and they sell the little Coca-Colas in the peak season. Don't think I didn't miss that either. Uncle Bob's going to need a raise around middle school. Give me one of them Coca-Colas. Yeah. Let me tell you, this is the truth. Let me tell you the best day in this hotel last year for me. The best day last year. The young man's riding that Coca-Cola bike up and down the front porch, and I know this is a little sensitive, but we are not a tipping hotel. It is not expected. It is not required anywhere in the hotel proper. But all of us employees and about 2/3 of our guests knew that that young man on that bicycle was our president's son. So every one of us, me included, when we bought us a little Coca-Cola, we're like, keep the change, keep the change, keep the change. So the best day, this is the truth, the best day in my life in this hotel, last year, the general manager was pushing that heavy bicycle through the parlor at the end of this man's shift from selling those little Coca-Colas, and right in front of my desk turns to him and says, how'd you do out there today? And he goes, I did better than you did. We are what What we try, if you follow this full circle, what the Musser family's done is the same thing that James Rankin Hayes did when he stood on our porch in 1890 and said, you got to be more than clean rooms, good food, pretty place. Heart, soul, spirit, animation. And our goal is when you guys come here, not to look at this from the outside, history from velvet ropes, historical marker. When you guys come, we want you to check in just like you guys did 126 years before and participate in a present ongoing history. And the rarity of this building, don't forget it, there was 1,200 of these in existence. There's 12 left. There's 11 open. We're the last privately owned one in the country. And why do we exist? Because we've been owned or associated with the same family since 1919, been solely owned by that same family since 1933. And this, my friends, is their one and only business. And they work here every single solitary day, side by side with every one of us. We were built for our guests, but we're built by our guests. We have fourth-generation owners. We have fourth-generation guests. 2009, we had a wedding in the Tea Garden where a young lady got married in the same spot her great-grandma did 100 years before. That's why we exist. All right, I believe there's a garden lecture coming on because some of the warning signs that there's a garden lecture coming on, they're giving me the eye. They're looking for that big hook to come and get me out of here. Thank you guys for coming like every year. You guys enjoy.